Okay, so you're prepping for a web content manager interview.
Yeah.
And honestly, all those potential questions,
Right.
it can be overwhelming.
Yeah.
But we're going to break it all down today.
Absolutely.
We're diving into RoleCatcher's career and interview guides.
Okay.
And we're going to figure out why interviewers ask certain things,
Mm-hmm.
how to nail those answers,
Okay.
and even how RoleCatcher uses AI
Interesting.
to really stand out from other candidates.
What's really cool about this is that we can take all this info and turn it into strategies.
Exactly.
Like, it's not just about memorizing answers.
Yeah.
It's about understanding the whole landscape of web content management,
Yeah.
how to present yourself as the ideal candidate.
Before we jump into interview questions,
Okay.
let's quickly touch on what a web content manager actually does.
Right.
Because it's a lot more than just writing.
Oh, absolutely.
The RoleCatcher Career Guide highlights the core responsibilities,
Yeah.
like creating and curating content.
Mm-hmm.
That aligns with the organization's goals.
Yeah, think of it as being the architect of the website's message
Okay.
and user experience.
I like that.
You're responsible for making sure it's legally compliant,
Huh.
optimized for search engines,
Right.
and you're often managing a whole team of writers and designers.
Wow.
It's a really strategic role.
Yeah. And speaking of strategy,
Yes.
RoleCatcher's Career Guide mentions different career stages
Okay.
for web content managers.
Interesting.
It's interesting to see how the role evolves over time
Right.
and what skills are needed as you gain experience.
It's a great resource
Yeah.
because it helps you visualize your potential career path
Uh-huh.
and understand the typical responsibilities
Okay.
at each level.
That makes sense.
So as you're preparing for this interview,
Right.
you can really highlight the skills and experiences
Mm-hmm.
that align with your career aspirations.
So, like, are you aiming for a management position?
Exactly.
Or are you more excited about, like, the technical side,
All right.
SEO and content optimization?
Exactly.
That's a really good point.
Yeah,
Keeping your future goals in mind can really help you tailor your answers
absolutely.
and show the interviewer you're thinking long term.
It shows you're invested.
Okay, let's get into the heart of it.
All right.
The interview questions.
Let's do it.
And we're not just going to read them off a list.
Okay.
We're going to break them down
Mm-hmm.
and really understand what's going on beneath the surface.
I like it.
First up,
Okay.
how do you stay up to date with the latest trends in web content management?
Okay.
It seems straightforward,
Yeah.
but what's the interviewer really trying to uncover here?
They're looking for evidence of passion
Okay.
and proactivity.
Uh-huh.
Anyone can say they read articles,
Right.
but they want to see that you're genuinely invested in this field.
So it's not enough to just list websites or publications.
You know, they want to see that you're actively seeking out knowledge.
I
Think
s-
about it. The web is constantly changing.
That's true.
So how do you stay ahead of the curve?
So instead of just listing a bunch of websites,
Right.
we need to showcase a more strategic approach.
Exactly.
What would be a better way to answer this?
I would suggest mentioning specific blogs,
Okay.
but go a step further. Talk about a recent article that challenged your perspective
Uh-huh.
or inspired you to try a new technique.
Interesting.
Maybe you attended a webinar on a new content strategy,
Okay.
or you're part of an online community
I see.
where you discuss trends with other professionals.
That makes sense.
The key is to show that you're actively engaged.
And I bet there are some sneaky follow-up questions, too.
Yeah, of course.
What kind of things should we be prepared for?
Well, they might ask you to elaborate on a specific trend
Okay.
that you're excited about,
Uh-huh.
or they could ask how you've applied a recent trend in your previous work,
That's a good one.
which is a perfect opportunity to highlight your adaptability
Right.
and willingness to experiment.
And this is where RoleCatcher's AI can really help.
That's-
It can help you identify those industry trends
Mm-hmm.
and tailor your responses
Exactly.
to match what employers are looking for.
It's like having a secret weapon.
I like that.
That gives you a personalized cheat sheet.
Okay, next question.
Okay.
How do you ensure content is accessible to users with disabilities?
Okay.
This one goes beyond just knowing the basics.
Absolutely.
It's about showcasing your commitment to inclusivity
Mm-hmm.
and your understanding of accessibility standards.
Yes, you should mention WCA guidelines.
Okay.
But the interviewer wants to see that you go beyond the minimum.
Okay.
Think about a time you went above and beyond.
To ensure accessibility.
Right.
So instead of just saying, I add alt text to images.
Exactly.
I could talk about a time when I implemented a really cool accessibility feature.
Yes.
Or advocated for a more inclusive design approach with my team.
Exactly. Maybe you spearheaded a project to create transcripts for all video content.
That's a good one.
Or you researched innovative ways to make complex data visualizations accessible. Sharing concrete examples like that really demonstrates your proactive approach.
I love that tip.
Yeah.
Okay, now brace yourself for this one.
All right.
How do you balance SEO optimization with creating engaging, high-quality content?
Ooh, that's a good one.
This feels like a constant tug of war.
It's a classic dilemma.
Yeah.
And the interviewer wants to see that you understand it's not an either situation.
Right.
You need to show that you can create content that ranks well
Mm-hmm.
and resonates with human readers.
So how do we find that sweet spot
Yeah.
between sounding like a robot and a poet?
Start by highlighting your understanding of user intent.
Okay.
Remember, search engines are designed to connect users
Right.
with the most relevant and helpful information.
Okay.
So when you're doing keyword research,
Mm-hmm.
you're not just looking for popular terms.
So it's about
Yeah.
seeing keywords as clues to what people are searching for,
Exactly.
and then crafting content that provides genuine value.
Right.
Are there any specific tools or techniques that I could mention?
You could talk about using tools like SEMrush or Ahrefs
Okay.
to analyze keyword trends.
No.
But remember,
Yeah.
the emphasis should always be on creating valuable and engaging content.
Content that people actually want to read.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm starting to see the bigger picture here.
Good.
It's not about manipulating algorithms.
Right.
It's about understanding your audience
Mm-hmm.
and meeting their needs.
Absolutely.
And I bet the interviewer might want to dig a little deeper.
Oh, for sure.
Maybe ask, can you give me an example of a time you had to make a decision
Okay.
between SEO best practices
Yeah,
and creating content that felt more authentic to the brand?
that's a really good one.
Yeah.
Sometimes you do have to make judgment calls.
Right.
And showing that you can weigh those options strategically is key.
I see.
For instance,
Yeah.
you might explain how you once chose to use a slightly less popular keyword
Okay.
because it let you create a more compelling narrative
Interesting.
that better fit the brand's voice.
That makes perfect sense.
There. All right, let's tackle another common question.
Okay.
How do you manage a team of content creators?
Right.
This one's all about showcasing those leadership skills.
Exactly. They want to see how you motivate,
Mm-hmm.
delegate, give feedback,
Right.
and make sure everyone is working effectively.
Towards a common goal.
Yes. It's about painting a picture of a positive and productive work environment.
So instead of just listing off project management buzzwords,
Right.
I should focus on my leadership style
Yes.
and how I foster collaboration.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Are you a collaborative leader
Okay.
who encourages open communication and feedback?
Uh-huh.
Or do you take a more hands-on approach
Right.
with clear directions and deadlines?
Okay.
Sharing specific examples of how you've managed teams in the past can be really powerful.
And of course,
Yeah.
they'll probably throw in a classic behavioral question.
Oh, yeah.
Like, tell me about a time you had to deal with a conflict on your team.
Mm-hmm.
How did you resolve it?
Those can be tricky.
But they're a great opportunity to show your conflict resolution skills
Right.
and your ability to navigate challenging dynamics.
It's all about staying calm under pressure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Think about a situation where you successfully mediated a conflict
Okay.
or helped team members find common ground.
Yeah.
Remember, the goal is to demonstrate your ability to handle tough situations professionally.
This is gold. It feels like we're really getting into the interviewer's head
Mm-hmm.
and understanding what they're actually looking for.
Yeah.
Before we move on,
Okay.
let's circle back to the career stages section
All right.
in RoleCatcher's Career Guide.
Sounds good.
I think it's helpful to tie these insights into our interview prep.
I agree. Understanding the typical career path
Yeah.
can help you articulate your ambitions in the interview.
Like,
Right.
if you're aiming for a management position,
Right.
you can point to those responsibilities and
Yeah.
say, these are the skills I'm working towards.
I like that.
Right.
And even if you're just starting out, you can show that you've thought about your future
Okay.
and are eager to learn and grow within the organization.
It's all about demonstrating that you're not just looking for a job,
Right.
but a career path where you can thrive.
Exactly. Showing that you're invested in your professional growth
Yeah.
signals to the interviewer that you're a valuable long-term asset.
That's a really important point.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, ready for another question?
Keep me.
This one might seem a bit nuanced.
Right.
How do you ensure that content is aligned with brand voice and tone?
Okay.
Okay, this one feels a bit tricky.
Yeah.
It's not just about grammar and spelling.
No, it's about capturing the essence of the brand's personality,
Right.
ensuring that all content feels cohesive and authentic.
You hit the nail on the head.
Thanks.
The interviewer wants to see if you understand the nuances of different brand voices
Right.
and how to adapt your writing accordingly.
Exactly. Can you write in a way that feels playful and humorous,
Yeah.
and then switch gears to a more formal and professional tone for a different brand?
So how do I showcase that kind of versatility
Yeah.
in an interview setting?
Right.
It feels like one of those things that's easier to demonstrate
Mm-hmm.
through actual writing samples.
That's true. But you can still paint a picture of your process.
Okay.
Talk about how you approach understanding a brand's voice and tone.
Right.
Do you study their existing content, marketing materials, and social media?
Okay.
Do you talk to stakeholders to understand their vision?
Uh-huh.
Have you developed style guides or tone of voice documents in the past?
And it's always helpful to have a concrete example.
Absolutely.
I could say something like,
Yeah.
for this project, I used a more conversational tone
Yeah.
to reach a younger demographic.
Perfect.
Or I made sure to incorporate the brand's values into all messaging.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Show, don't tell.
Right.
And be prepared for those follow-up questions. Like, have you ever had to adapt your writing style to fit a new brand or target audience?
Cool.
This gives you a chance to highlight your adaptability and your ability to tailor your writing
Okay.
to different contexts.
This is incredibly helpful.
Good.
I'm starting to feel a lot more confident.
I'm glad to hear that.
Before we move on to more questions,
Okay.
I want to touch on something we mentioned earlier.
Right.
RoleCatcher's AI.
Yes,
This tool can be a game changer
absolutely.
when it comes to tailoring our responses.
For specific job roles.
Yes.
It can.
It sounds incredible.
It analyzes job descriptions
Okay.
to identify the specific skills
Mhm.
and experiences that employers are looking for.
Wow.
It's like a personalized guide
I like that.
that helps you highlight the most relevant parts of your background.
So it's not just about using the right keywords.
No.
It's about understanding what the AI is looking for
Exactly.
and tailoring your responses accordingly.
It takes the guesswork out of it.
That's incredible.
And the best part is,
Yeah.
it can even give you feedback on your answers.
Wow.
Imagine practicing your responses
No.
and getting personalized tips
Like, wow.
on your delivery,
Yeah.
your tone, even your body language.
That's amazing.
It's like having a virtual interview coach
I love it.
who can point out your blind spots.
Okay, let's get back to those interview questions.
Right.
This next one is a bit more technical.
Okay.
How do you ensure the technical SEO of a website? This is where you can really dive deep
Yeah.
into the technical side of web content management.
They want to know you understand the nuts and bolts
Right.
of how search engines work and how to optimize a website for visibility.
So it's not just about writing catchy headlines
Right.
and using the right keywords.
It's about understanding site structure,
Okay.
trawlability, mobile optimization.
Those are important.
Yeah, you could talk about using tools
Learn
like Google Search Console
Uh-huh.
and Screaming Frog
Okay.
to identify technical issues.
Yeah.
You can mention optimizing site speed,
Right.
using structured data, ensuring mobile friendliness.
And I imagine they might follow up with something like,
What do you think?
can you describe a time you identified and resolved a technical SEO issue
Ooh, that's a good one.
that was impacting a website's performance?
That's a classic behavioral question.
Yeah.
It lets you show off your problem-solving skills.
Right.
Be prepared to walk them through your process,
Okay.
how you diagnosed the issue, implemented a solution,
Right.
and monitored the results.
It's all about demonstrating your strategic approach.
Exactly.
Okay. Next question.
Right.
What content management systems, CMS, are you familiar with?
Okay.
And which do you prefer?
This one's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
It assesses your technical skills and experience.
Okay.
Be honest about the platforms you've worked with.
Mm-hmm.
Highlight the ones that are most relevant to the job.
So if the job description mentions WordPress,
Right.
I should definitely highlight my WordPress skills.
Exactly. And mention specific plugins or themes you've used.
Okay.
And if you have experience with multiple platforms, you can briefly explain the pros and cons of each
That makes sense.
and which one you find most user-friendly
Okay.
or effective for certain content types.
And they might follow up with,
Yeah.
could you describe a time you had to learn a new CMS quickly?
Okay.
How did you approach the learning process?
That's a great opportunity to show your adaptability and willingness to learn new technologies.
Yeah.
You could explain how you used online resources,
Yeah.
tutorials, or even reached out to colleagues.
That's a good one.
The key is to show you're eager to expand your skill set.
It sounds like a lot of these questions
Yeah,
are designed to assess not just our technical skills,
right.
but our soft skills too.
Exactly, like problem solving,
Mm-hmm.
communication, and adaptability.
Okay, moving on
All right.
to a question that might strike fear into some.
Okay.
How do you measure the success of your content?
This one's all about showing your analytical skills
Okay.
and your understanding of KPIs.
Key performance indicators,
Right. They want to see that you can go beyond vanity metrics.
like page views.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And focus on metrics that actually align with business goals.
So instead of just saying, I track website traffic, I should talk about specific metrics.
Yes, like conversion rates,
You okay?
lead generation, or customer engagement.
That makes sense.
Explain how you use tools like Google Analytics
Right.
to track these metrics
Huh?
and how you use data to inform your content strategy.
Okay.
You could mention A/B testing different headlines
Right.
or calls to action.
To optimize conversions?
Exactly. Or you could talk about using social media analytics
Okay.
to understand what resonates with your audience.
And a potential follow-up
Yeah.
could be something like,
What do you think?
can you give me an example of a time you used data
Okay.
to improve the performance of a piece of content?
Perfect. This is where you can showcase your analytical skills
Right.
and your ability to turn data into insights.
Have a specific example ready
Exactly.
where you use data to identify a problem,
Yes.
test the solution, and measure the results.
It could be as simple as changing a headline
Oh, yeah.
to improve click-through rates,
Yeah.
or as complex as redesigning a landing page
Right.
to optimize for conversion.
Okay, let's tackle another question that often pops up.
All right.
How do you handle negative feedback
Okay.
or criticism of your content?
This one's about assessing your emotional intelligence
Okay.
and your ability to handle criticism constructively.
They want to see that you're open to feedback,
Exactly.
willing to learn from your mistakes,
Mm-hmm.
and able to stay professional even in tough situations.
Right. It's not about being defensive. It's
Right.
about using feedback for growth.
Okay.
You could talk about your process for receiving feedback,
Right.
whether it's through formal reviews,
Mm-hmm.
user comments, or social media.
Right.
Explain how you actively solicit feedback
Right.
and use it to improve your strategy.
And I could mention a specific example
That's
of a time I received negative feedback
right.
and how I used it to make positive changes.
Perfect. It shows you're not afraid of criticism
Yeah.
and that you value feedback for growth.
This has been incredibly insightful.
I'm glad to hear that.
I feel like I'm starting to understand the strategy
Mm-hmm.
behind these questions and how to craft responses that really showcase my skills.
Exactly.
And speaking of showcasing skills,
Yes.
let's not forget about RoleCatcher's AI.
Absolutely.
Can you remind us how this tool can help us tailor our answers?
Of course, remember, it can analyze those job descriptions
Right.
to find the key skills and experiences
Okay.
that employers are looking for,
Yeah.
and then it can provide feedback.
On our answers.
Exactly, suggesting ways to highlight those skills more effectively.
So it's like having a personalized guide.
Exactly.
That helps me craft the perfect responses.
It takes the guesswork out of it.
That's amazing.
It's a powerful tool.
Okay, before we move on to more questions, I want to touch on something we briefly mentioned earlier,
Sounds good.
the career stages section in RoleCatcher's Career Guide.
Yes, that's a great resource.
I think it's helpful to keep these insights in mind.
I agree. Understanding the typical career path
Mm-hmm.
can help you tailor your responses
Right.
and articulate your ambitions.
For example,
Yeah.
if I'm aiming for a management position later on,
Okay.
I can highlight the leadership skills I've gained,
I like that.
even if it wasn't a formal management role.
Right. Or if you're just starting out,
Mm-hmm.
you can emphasize your eagerness to learn
Yeah.
and grow within the organization.
It's all about showing
Yeah.
that you're not just looking for a job,
Right.
but a career path.
A place where you can thrive
Exactly.
and contribute your unique skills.
Ready for another question?
Hit me.
This one focuses on a crucial aspect
Okay.
of content creation.
Right.
How do you ensure your content is original
Okay.
and avoids plagiarism?
All right.
This is an important one. Especially in the age of AI-generated content,
For sure.
it's not just about ethics.
Right.
It's about protecting the credibility
Absolutely.
and reputation of the brand.
The interviewer wants to see
Yeah.
that you understand how serious plagiarism is
Right.
and that you have a process
Mm-hmm.
for ensuring originality.
So I should talk about using plagiarism detection tools.
Yes, but go beyond just mentioning the tools.
Okay.
Explain your research process
Uh-huh.
and how you cite sources properly.
Okay.
You could also mention paraphrasing
Oh,
and
yeah.
summarizing while maintaining the meaning.
And they might follow up with,
Yeah.
had you ever encountered plagiarism in your work? How did you address it?
That could be a tough one.
Yeah, especially if I've had to deal with plagiarism from a colleague
Right.
or a freelance writer.
It's a challenging situation,
Yeah.
but it's a chance to show your professionalism.
Yeah.
Explain how you approached it calmly.
Right.
Focused on educating the individual and making sure the content was removed.
Or properly attributed.
Exactly.
It's all about demonstrating
Yes.
that I take plagiarism seriously
Right.
and I have the skills
Yeah.
to handle these situations.
Okay, let's move on to a question
All right.
that often comes up when discussing content strategy.
Okay.
How do you stay informed about your target audience?
This is all about demonstrating
Yeah,
that I understand my audience
Mhm.
and that I can create content that resonates.
exactly. They want to see that you're not just guessing.
Right.
You're actively seeking out information
Okay.
to inform your strategy.
So it's about going beyond basic demographics
Right.
and really understanding their motivations.
Yes, their pain points
Uh-huh.
and aspirations.
You can talk about using Google Analytics
Exact.
to analyze behavior,
Mhm.
conducting surveys,
Yes.
and monitoring social media conversations,
to stay on top of trends.
and a potential follow-up.
Yep.
Could be.
What do you think?
Can you describe a time you used audience insights
Okay.
to inform your content strategy? What was the outcome?
This is a great chance to show your strategic thinking
Right.
and how you translate insights into content ideas.
Yeah, have a specific example ready
Exactly.
where you use data to identify a gap or develop a new piece of content.
Or refine an existing one.
It's all about showing that I understand data-driven decisions.
Exactly.
Okay, let's switch gears
Right.
to a question that often comes up in digital marketing.
Okay.
How do you approach content promotion and distribution?
This one's all about understanding the bigger picture
Yeah.
and your ability to promote effectively.
Okay.
They want to see that you're not just creating content. You're thinking about how to get it to the right people.
So it's about going beyond just publishing,
Exactly. Yeah.
leveraging different channels.
Right. You could talk about social media marketing,
Got it.
email marketing, paid ads,
Mm.
influencer outreach, and even content syndication.
So many options.
Highlight your understanding of each channel.
Right. And how you choose the most effective ones.
And they might follow up with,
Yeah.
can you describe a successful content promotion campaign you've run?
Okay.
What were the key elements of its success?
This is a chance to showcase your creativity
Okay.
and your ability to measure results.
Be prepared to walk them through the campaign.
Exactly. Explain your goals.
Uh-huh.
Target audience channels, key messages.
And most importantly,
yeah,
the results.
absolutely.
This is incredibly helpful.
Good.
It's like we've uncovered a treasure map
I like that.
to navigating these questions and
Yeah.
showcasing our skills.
And before we wrap up this section,
Yeah,
I want to emphasize RoleCatcher's AI.
absolutely.
Remember, it can analyze those job descriptions
Right.
and provide feedback on your answers.
It's like having a personalized guide
Exactly.
that helps us craft the perfect responses.
It takes the guesswork out of it.
It sounds like RoleCatcher's AI
Yeah.
can really give candidates an edge.
Now let's dive into some more insightful questions.
Sounds good. Let's continue exploring
Okay.
the world of web content management
Yes.
and uncover those winning strategies.
Let's do it.
All right, let's tackle a question that often throws people off balance.
Okay.
What is your biggest weakness as a web content manager?
Ooh, this one feels like a trap.
It can feel that way,
Yeah.
but it's actually a chance to show self-awareness
Okay.
and a commitment to growth.
So how do I approach this?
Choose a weakness that is real but not fatal,
Okay.
and then explain how you're working to improve it.
So instead of saying I'm a perfectionist.
Right, that can sound cliche.
Yeah.
I would talk about a specific skill you're developing,
Okay.
like data analysis or video editing.
So I could say
Yeah,
I'm still developing my data analysis skills,
perfect.
but I'm taking online courses
Yes.
and seeking out opportunities to work with data.
That shows you're aware of your areas for growth
Right.
and that you're taking proactive steps.
It also shows a growth mindset,
Exactly.
which is so important.
Especially in a field like this.
That's constantly evolving.
right.
Okay, let's shift gears to a question
All right.
that explores your creative process.
Okay.
Can you describe your process for developing a content calendar?
This question is all about showcasing your organizational skills
Right.
and your ability to plan strategically.
Yeah. So should I talk about researching keywords,
Yes.
identifying gaps, brainstorming ideas,
Mm.
assigning deadlines, and tracking progress?
Yes. But don't just list the steps.
Okay.
Explain how you prioritize content ideas,
Based on.
audience needs,
Okay.
business goals, and SEO strategy.
Got it.
You could mention specific tools or templates you use.
To organize the calendar and
Exactly.
collaborate with the team.
And they might ask,
Yeah.
how do you adapt your content calendar when unexpected events occur?
Like what?
Like a sudden industry shift
Okay.
or a viral news story.
That's a good one.
This lets you show your flexibility and ability to think on your feet.
Okay.
You could explain how you monitor industry news
Mm-hmm.
and social media trends.
To stay informed.
Yes, and how you adjust your calendar.
To capitalize on opportunities.
Exactly.
Or address emerging issues.
It's all about balance
Yeah.
between planning and adaptability.
Okay, let's tackle another question
Yeah.
that often comes up.
Okay.
How do you handle working with multiple stakeholders
Okay.
who have different opinions and priorities?
This is about your communication and collaboration skills.
Okay.
Web content managers work with a lot of different teams.
Like who?
Marketing, sales, product development, customer support.
So I need to show
Yeah.
that I can listen effectively,
Mhm.
build consensus, and find solutions.
That satisfy everyone's needs.
Exactly.
Share an example of a time you collaborated with different departments
Okay.
to develop a content strategy.
Highlight my communication skills
Yes.
and ability to resolve conflicts.
And they might ask, can you describe a time you had to convince a stakeholder to change their mind?
Oh, that's a tough one.
It is, but it's a chance to show your persuasive skills.
Okay.
Be prepared to explain your reasoning,
Mhm.
present data to support your position,
All right.
and find common ground.
This deep dive has been so valuable.
I'm glad you think so.
We've covered so many questions
We have.
and learned how to approach them strategically.
And don't forget about RoleCatcher.
Of course.
Their AI-powered tools can really help.
It's like having a personal coach.
Exactly, guiding you every step of the way.
So as you prepare for your interview,
Yes.
remember to use RoleCatcher.
Their insights are invaluable.
Combined with the strategies we've talked about today, you can confidently navigate those questions.
And land your dream job.
Now let's dive into some more insightful questions.
Sounds good. Let's keep exploring. Okay, let's look at another tricky question.
All right.
How do you stay up to date on the latest digital marketing trends?
Okay, this one seems pretty broad. Where do I even begin?
The interviewer wants to see that you're a lifelong learner,
Okay.
that you're curious and proactive.
Uh-huh.
So talk about the resources you use.
Wait.
Industry blogs, podcasts, newsletters,
Right.
online courses, conferences.
That makes sense.
Mention specific examples that show you're actively engaged.
So instead of just saying, I read industry blogs,
Right.
I could mention a specific blog or podcast
Exactly.
and how it's helped me stay informed.
Perfect. They might even ask a follow-up question.
Like,
Tell me about a recent digital marketing trend that you're excited about.
okay.
This gives you a chance to show your passion.
And my knowledge.
Exactly.
This has been such a helpful deep dive.
I'm glad you think so.
We've covered so many important questions.
We have.
And learned how to approach them strategically.
Remember, it's not just about memorizing answers.
Right.
It's about understanding the why behind the questions.
And showcasing our skills.
And of course, using RoleCatcher's AI.
Yes, their tools can give us a real advantage.
Absolutely. They provide personalized insights and feedback.
That can help us tailor our responses.
And really stand out from the competition.
So if you're preparing for a web content manager interview,
Mm-hmm.
definitely check out RoleCatcher.
You won't regret it.
That's it for this deep dive.
Thanks for joining us.
We hope you found it valuable.
And good luck with your interviews.
Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep creating amazing web content.